Hey guys, it's Amy, and in today's video we will be doing my August book haul and wrap up and my September TBR. In the month of August I only obtained one book, and that was Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. Now this is because I have instilled a rule upon myself, which is read 5 before you buy, and sort of curbs my unfortunate TBR expansion tendencies. In the month of August I read a total of 9 books, which is probably the best reading month I've ever had, ever. The first book that I read in the month of August was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, which is the first book in the Infernal Devices trilogy. This is about a girl called Tessa who travels from New York to London to meet her brother who has been living and working there, only to be kidnapped and find out that it wasn't her brother who sent the money, and stuff happens, meets Shadowhunters people, and yeah. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was alright. I saw the plot twists coming, and I didn't particularly like any of the characters except for Henry. I did find Tessa much less annoying than Clary. Also, Will is a bit of a dick, to be honest. Yep, don't really like Will, and everyone seems to love him. I don't understand. But, well, maybe I'll fall in love with him through the rest of the series, but I doubt it. The next book that I read in August, I actually read on Pulse-it, which is a website where you can read YA books for free. The first book that I read from Pulse-it was Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. It's about a girl called Amy who her father passed away and her mother's gotten a job in another town, and so she stayed at home to stay and finish off the year. And she needs to travel to the other side of the country where her mother has moved to with their car. But the problem is, since her father passed away in a car accident, she doesn't really want to drive, so an old family friend offers to drive her. So, as you can tell, sort of romance and stuff ensues. It was a really good book. I loved it. It was 4 out of 5 stars. The only problem I had was with the ending and an interaction between the two main characters that just didn't feel genuine. It felt a bit rushed, and it was a little bit illegal because of her age. The next book that I read in August was the 4th book in the Mortal Instruments series, City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. I really enjoyed this book. I could really vividly picture everything that was happening. It was 4 out of 5 stars. I wouldn't say it was like my favourite book in the series so far, but it was still good. Some of the plot twists I saw coming, some of them I didn't. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was also on Pulse-it and also by Morgan Matson, and it was Second Chance Summer. Second Chance Summer is about a girl called Taylor. Her father has recently been diagnosed with cancer, and so she and her family decide to spend the summer at their lake house, which they haven't been to for a few years, and Taylor has to sort of confront her friends that she had left behind very suddenly. I gave this book also a 4 out of 5 stars. It was good. I really enjoyed it. I liked it. It was just not great. It didn't blow my mind. The next book I read in August was Untouchable by S.A. Starcevich, which is a young adult novella about a boy who happens to be gay and finds out he has superpowers. I really enjoyed this. I have a book talk on it. So the next book that I read in August was Divergent by Veronica Roth. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's about a girl called Tris who lives in a society which is broken up into factions depending on your dominant personality trait, and there's a test that determines which one you belong in, but she finds out that she doesn't just belong in one like everyone else. She is a thing called Divergent, and I really enjoyed it. The next book that I read was also on Pulse-it, and that was Go Ask Alice by Anonymous. This is a book about a girl who unknowingly takes LSD at a party, and her life spirals from there. This was written in the 60s, I believe, and supposedly the real diary of a girl, but it felt very constructed and very much an anti-drug propaganda novel. It felt a little unrealistic, and I haven't known anyone who's had an addiction to drugs, and I have not tried drugs, so I don't know what it's like. A couple months after trying a drug for the first time, she was dealing drugs to 9-year-olds, which also felt a little bit over the top, I would say. It was mildly entertaining, and so that's why it's got a 2-star rating for me. The second last book that I read in August was The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan, which is the first book in the Kane Chronicles trilogy. This is about a boy called Carter and his sister Sadie, who are separated because their mother dies and their grandparents have custody of Sadie, and their father has custody of Carter, and their father is an Egyptologist, I think. As Rick Riordan's books tend to go, they sort of have the blood of the gods within them in some way. So yeah, it was really entertaining, really funny, and I think I actually enjoyed this book a bit more than any of Rick Riordan's other books. I don't know why, I just really enjoyed it. I think it's just because I have a preference for Egyptian mythology, and I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book I read in the month of August was Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. I was fortunate enough to also go to an advanced screening of the film thanks to the publishers Allen and Unwin. It was a really good movie and a really good book, both 5 out of 5 stars. I also have a book talk that I only posted this week on that book because it's amazing. And now on to my September TBR. The first book I hope to read in September is A Game of Crows by Jacob Whitfield, which is the first book in the Pecking Order, which is a new series. I was sent this book for review and I'm obviously going to try and read it this month. In this book there are 13 families that rule the world. They're sort of in the shadows. The world doesn't know that they're the rulers, but they do have control over everything. And there is a council which oversees these families, and the head of the council is the Master of Light, and the Master of Light is assassinated. And Gwendolyn is a part of one of those families, and it's sort of about her experience there, I believe. The next book I hope to read is Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. I don't know much about this book, except I've heard a lot of mixed things on YouTube and Goodreads. It was free on Pulse-it and I've kept the tab open so I can still read it even though it's expired. I'm hoping to read that this month so that I can close that tab because it's been open for a really long time. The next book I hope to read is Last Man Standing by Stephen Bradbury. This is the memoirs of the first Australian to ever win a gold medal at the Winter Olympics. I actually got to ask him a question when I was 6 years old at a school assembly where he came to talk, and he actually remembered me when my dad had him as a keynote speaker at one of his work launch parties, and he still remembered the question and he signed it to me. The next book that I hope to read is The Long Walk by Slavomir Rowex. It's a true story, or allegedly true story, about a man and a bunch of people who were in a prisoner of war camp in Russia during the Second World War who escaped and walked 4,000 miles to safety. Fun fact, it's actually contested as to whether this actually happened or not, or whether Slavomir and his friends made this up. The last book I hope to read is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is about a bunch of kids from rich families, and I don't know much, but I've heard really good things, and yeah, I just want to read it because I've had it on my shelf for quite a while. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you read in August and what you hope to read in September and what you thought of any of these books that I mentioned. I hope you're having a lovely day. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and happy reading. Bye!